Hokage here, Hokage here. Tuchel is sacked. Tuchel is not sacked yet. I just hit a ball. He's not sacked yet, but communication official from Bayern that Tuchel will part ways with the club in May. And I won't talk on this too long because I want to talk about which managers I want to come and potential managers to come to Bayern. I want that to be the main bulk of this video. But if I'm to sum up Tuchel's time, I feel like, up until a week and a half ago, you guys, let's keep it 100%. Bayern was having a good season up until 10 days ago. We were having the fifth strongest start in Bundesliga history. Leverkusen having the third strongest start in Bundesliga history. Obviously, the top two spots behind Pep Guardiola's two Bayern teams, two of Pep Guardiola's three Bayern teams. We were first in the Champions League group. We were coming into the Lazio tie, winning a lot of games, but we had that one shock loss to Werder Bremen. But we were having a good season. But when you drop at a team like Bayern with such high standards at such a critical part of the at such a critical part of this stage of the season, when you drop three of the worst performances I've ever seen a Bayern team have in the space of 7 days to one, put us 8 points behind Leverkusen in the Bundesliga title race, and to two, have us a goal down after the first leg against fucking Lazio in the round of 16 in the Champions League, you're asking to be sacked. At a club like Bayern with such high standards we have, which I love to see, this is how the Bayern fans keep the club in check. This is how the board keeps Bayern standards high, is that we don't accept 3 losses in a row at such a key stage of the season. No, this is unacceptable. So I alluded to the fact that we were having a good season, and I do feel bad for Tuchel in that sense. But I'm sorry, you cannot do what you did in the last week, set up the way tactically you did against Leverkusen, having lost all the confidence in your players, treating Kimmich like the way you are, treating De Ligt like the way you are, and get away with it, man. You just can't do it. You can't act like an arrogant prick in the media the way you're doing it, especially when we're playing shit like this. You just can't do that. You can't do that at Bayern, and that's ultimately one of the main reasons he's getting sacked. Another reason I do slightly feel bad for Tuchel, guys, is that in this key stage of the season, there's just so many injuries. Like, we complain about Goretzka being shit. We complain about Sané being shit and all that. But when he looks at his bench, there's no true replacements for him. You know what I mean? Sané's second half of the season, Sané showed up. He looks to his bench, and all there is Choupo-Moting and Matthias Tell. Now, sure, you could argue Matthias Tell, at this point, the impact he makes off the bench should be starting over Sané, but it's just the options are thin for him. But I'm sorry, at a club like Bayern, injury list is it's not an excuse. I'm sorry, it really isn't an excuse. Look at Real Madrid. They've basically had their whole back line out injured this entire season, and they are hitting prime form right now in this stage of the season, along with City. Those two are the clear favorites for the Champions League. And meanwhile, Bayern just dropped the 3 worst performances of the season in the space of 7 days under Tuchel's watch. It's disgusting, and it's just some of his substitutions, his tactical setup. It's tough because I do feel like he's trying to play better, but I think he's lost the dressing room. The injuries are piling up. The mood is shit. And it's really going to take something gargantuan. It's going to really take big balls and big energy and big balls and big grit to turn this around. And, the Bochum game this past weekend was key to do that. We lose to Lazio, we lose to Leverkusen, we would have 3 games, Bochum, Leipzig, Freiburg, to get 3 wins to prepare us and to smash Lazio at home, and you go and lose like that to Bochum. It's just not good enough. And it's not, at the end of the day, it's not all Tuchel's fault, right? It's not all Tuchel's fault. The players at this stage of the season, no one is on form. Everyone's playing mid or crap. Tuchel's lost his way. Fights between players and coaches in the locker room, all arrogance in the media. It is what it is. And in the end, the manager will always, in today's modern football, where the managers are the real stars of the teams, the manager is always going to be the first one out when things happen like this. And I do think it's rightful. It's the right move. I don't think, especially next season with the Champions League in the Champions League final being in the Allianz Arena, I don't think Tuchel is the guy to take us to a final to be able to exercise the demons of 2012. I don't think he's that guy, so I don't mind the sacking. And what I like about the sacking that he is getting sacked at the end of the season is that now Bayern have 4 months. The board has 4 months to search the market, to negotiate with managers, and to take their time choosing the right guy to have a super successful season with Bayern next season. Because as I just said, the fucking Champions League final is in Allianz Arena, and we need to take that chance to exercise the demons of 2012. We need to take this chance, 100% minimum final next year. And they need to get the right manager to do that, and they have time now. Last season when the board has Salihamidzic and Heiner and Oliver Kahn, quickly sacked Nagelsmann, because they were in a rush to get Tuchel. They didn't really sit down and analyze how Tuchel would fit with this team, how his style and management style would fit with this team. And ultimately, less than a year later, he's announced to be sacked at the end of the season, and he will have spent a year and 3 months at the club. That's Tuchel's reign. It is what it is, but we got to move on, and we got to find the next manager. Now, if we go lose to Lazio in 2 weeks and we get knocked out of the round of 16, I guarantee you Tomas Tuchel doesn't even stay till the end of the season. I'm telling you. If we go and lose to fucking Lazio, I will personally fly to Munich, give Tomas Tuchel a wedgie, the world's longest, greatest, most painful wedgie, and kick his ass out into the cold streets of Munich. Peak winter time right now, or coming towards the end of winter. I will do it. But anyways, let's stop on Tuchel. Let's get into the managers. And you guys know who Bayern's priority number 1 is. It's already been reported by Paletti Goal, Fabrizio, that Bayern's absolute number 1 priority in the summer is Xabi Alonso. And as much as you guys, I hate the Bayernliga allegations. I hate when people accuse Bayern of just stripping Bundesliga teams of all their talent and everything. But you guys, Xabi Alonso is the hottest manager on the market right now. He is the hottest man. It's not just a Bundesliga thing. Many teams will be in for Xabi Alonso this summer. So Bayern being in it, it kind of makes me sick because I want him to stay at Leverkusen another year. I want him to keep his players, and I want him to actually try to challenge in the Champions League and defend his Bundesliga title with Leverkusen next season. But I don't know if it'll happen or not. But it pains me to say we need to go for Xabi Alonso fully because, you guys, Xabi Alonso is like the girl you've been crushing on in high school for 3 years and you never had the courage to talk to. Xabi Alonso is the nice car you always wanted. Xabi Alonso is the brand new iPhone when the brand new iPhone actually meant something 10 years ago. That's what Xabi Alonso is. Xabi Alonso is the kind of guy where he will most likely, at anything he does, be better than you no matter how hard you work. He's handsome. He's intelligent. He's already mastered the art of management so far in football. He's built a Goliath team like Leverkusen, playing attractive, sexy, technical, organized, defensively strong football with limited resources. Xabi Alonso is just that guy, and he should absolutely be priority number 1 for Bayern. This is the guy I want at Bayern. And it is what it is. And if this happens and people complain, oh, Bayern stripped the Bundesliga, kiss my ass. I'll rest my nutsack on your forehead. I don't give a fuck. Xabi Alonso is the future of management, and he needs to get his ass to Bayern. Please, save us. He's familiar with some of the players, Müller, Neuer, Kimmich, these guys. He's familiar with them. So he will be a familiar face. He will definitely be a respected figure amongst the players. And I think it's just a good fit. And maybe with him comes a couple of 1 or 2 of Leverkusen's players to Bayern. Who knows? But he has absolutely my desired number 1 target for Bayern, and who I do think Bayern should absolutely put all their chips in to get in the summer. Because this summer it'll be Bayern and Liverpool fighting for a signature, or Leverkusen to try and convince him to stay another season. Outside of Xabi Alonso, some names that have been floated around in the media is Mourinho, Zidane, Solskjaer, absolutely not. If Ole Gunnar Solskjaer comes to Bayern as interim, this was in the case if Tuchel got sacked now, Ole was going to come in as interim. If that happened, guys, if that happened, I'm burning the Allianz Arena down. I would have burned the Allianz Arena down. How can you bring Ole in, the guy who gave a generation of Bayern fans trauma with his winning goal in the Champions League in 1999? How can you even Think that. To bring a guy who caused trauma, sadness, and depression to a whole generation of Bayern fans. At this point, let's call fucking Drogba up and say, hey, Didier, come coach Bayern. That's my generation. Come coach Bayern and be the coach of a team you scored and dunked on in their own home in the fucking Champions League final and gave a whole a new generation of Bayern fans depression and sadness, aka my generation. I still remember the pain of that day. But yeah, that's another name that was mentioned. Zidane, Mourinho, and Hansi Flick. Those are really the main guys I've heard of. If I'm to give you my ranking, Xabi Alonso number 1, Hansi Flick number 2, Zidane number 3, Mourinho number 4. That's probably my ranking of managers I'd want to come at Bayern. Xabi Alonso number 1 because I've already explained he's the hottest manager in football. He is the future of management in football. He just understands the game better than most people. He understands. I feel like he understands the game like Pep Guardiola understands the game, like Sir Alex Ferguson understands the game. I really think his footballing knowledge, tactical ability, and man management is at that high of a level. He will be in that conversation of the greatest managers of all time come 10, 20 years down the line when he's deep into his managerial career. I guarantee you. I guarantee you that. So obviously Xabi Alonso 1, Hansi Flick number 2, because if there's a guy that is able to come into a shitty situation and boost player confidence and be the man manager you need to be in such dire times at Bayern, it's Hansi Flick, because he already did it once. He came and took over for Kovac and turned the fucking Bayern team. Everyone thought every player on that Bayern team was not good enough or finished. And he turned them into fucking sextuple winners. So obviously Hansi Flick number 2. Zidane number 3. I put Zidane number 3. That's kind of unrealistic because Zidane, I don't think is the kind of guy who'll come to Germany and try to learn German to coach at Bayern. Obviously, I think Bayern is a big enough club for him to consider it. And we have quite a bunch of French players in the team and history of French players in the 21st century. So I do think he would consider it if it's right. And Mourinho 4th because it's Mourinho, guys. It's Papa Mourinho. You got to consider him. I'd put him 4th, though. I do not want that. He's finished, in my opinion. I don't want him at Bayern. I'm sorry. So that's it. That's it. That is what it is. Tuchel's time at Bayern, surprise, surprise, was an absolute clusterfuck. I think most people could have predicted. I even kind of predicted this a year ago. Obviously, I didn't have a YouTube channel a year ago to make a video about it, but I never thought that Tuchel would amicably leave Bayern. I always thought that Tuchel's time at Bayern will somehow end in self-destruction. And there you go, self-destruction. And yeah, Bayern, get your big boy pants up, get your money up, get on your knees, and tell Xabi Alonso to get to the fucking club. And if not Xabi Alonso, convince Hansi Flick to come and get Kimmich and Goretzka and Davies and all these guys playing in tip-top form again. Because this team needs a fucking rebuild. Next year, Bayern's Champions League hopes need to be at an all-time high because the fucking final is in the fucking Allianz Arena, and we need to fucking exercise the demons of 2012. I personally still have the demons so anchored in my brain. I think about that final once a week. I shed tears for that final. And I will not have this Bayern team, with all the quality we have in this team, miss the opportunity to at least make the final and to at least win the fucking whole Champions League next season. I'm sorry. I will not miss out on it. So this has been Okage Puya. Let me know if you like the video. Let me know your thoughts on Tuchel. Leave a comment, guys. Give me emotional support. Remember, I was here for you guys. I'm always here for you guys for hashtag mental health, hashtag mental support. Now you guys got to be here for me. Hashtag mental health, hashtag mental support for this shit time Bayern's going through. Like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.